Welcome, everybody, to our Technology Educator meeting for April 9th of 2025. I mentioned there a moment ago into the discussion, there's a link to the slides. You'll also see that up here in the top right corner of this slide if you would like to follow along, whether that's live with us right now or whether you're watching the recording later. That's just bit.ly/teched0409. That'll get you here. I'm really glad that you're here. If you click the word attendance on this slide, or if you are in the chat, you'll also see a link there. Please make sure that you fill that out. It not only lets us know that you're here today, but also you will get a certificate of attendance, and then you can use those hours for recertification. So I'm really glad that you're here. My name is Matthew Mays. I'm the Digital Innovation Consultant for the Stark County Educational Service Center. We do these about every other month or so. So if you have friends who you think could benefit from these conversations, please make sure that you are passing along this information to them. All right, our meeting structure is the same as what it usually is today. We'll talk a little bit of setup and welcome information. We'll do our group share, which is my favorite part because I talk less and you all talk more, which is wonderful. In part 3, we'll do a little bit of a deep dive, and then we'll wrap it all up with what is coming up until the next time we meet. All right, so some important things. Remember, this is a safe space. We are friends to everyone who wants to join. This is a collaborative space. So whether you are a person who is very skilled when it comes to technology, or if you're a person who's a more reticent user, everyone is welcome here. So again, consider that as your sharing opportunities with your friends. We are happy to have everyone to join us. All right, learning intentions for this meeting. We share our best practices, the things that are really working with our students. Share is that big word there. We are big on collaboration in these meetings, talking about emerging products and how we can use them with our kids. And ultimately, I don't want this information to end with you. So be that leader in your district, share out the information with your colleagues and friends, anyone else that you think might be of benefit. All right, this is our final meeting for the year. So we will take the summer off and then revisit our meetings again in September. And I'll talk a little bit more about that here toward the end of our meeting. But just wanted to make you aware, this is our last one. So it sounds ridiculous to say, but happy summer, or good luck with your summer, even though we are very much stuck here in April. All right, from our friend Eric Kurtz, we have the Sparklines newsletter. This is something that you can subscribe to. This has some really great information coming out from Eric of just some fun things that has come across his desk in the last couple months or so, and is a great thing, again, to subscribe to and to share. So if that's something you're interested, please feel free to subscribe. And then there's also the full archive. So if you would like to dip back into some of the things that have been shared previously, then that archive is the place to be. All right, group share time. Is there anyone on the call, anyone who has something that they have seen that they've found interesting or useful in the last month or so since we have met that they would like to share with the group? All right, so I'll kick us off here. The first thing that I wanted to share with you, these are just some updates that were made to Google Drive, which I think are pretty fun. And the first one here exists within Slides. So this is something that is going to be in your insert area. These are called building blocks, and that's a term that Google is using across all their G Suite like products. So your doc slide sheets, they are starting to incorporate these building blocks to allow you to bring in some design elements without having to be a designer. So when you go to insert and hit building blocks, then you'll see some of these waiting for you. And again, if it hasn't come to your domain yet, I think they still might be doing the rollout. So as you make your way down here, you'll notice that there are lots of really cool things. So I see things like these like charts and tables. I see some things that are do like some quotes or call outs, some like headline things, some people. I see these cards. If you're looking to use this with students, these badges and the collaboration tools are really slick. So if you see something, you're working with a friend on here and you're like, ooh, I really like that idea. you can click this item and it will bring it onto your slide, just like every other thing that you have seen, except the key here is that this is fully customizable. So you'll notice that my little paint bucket here becomes green, but let's say I wanted it to be the same blue as what I use in the rest of my presentation. I can select that shade of blue, and ta-da, now I have this really slick blue star with the thumbs up to add to this slide. Maybe that's like, I know a lot of people call it like a +1 on a good idea. So that's a really fun opportunity to bring those in. And what you're seeing here is not the end of the road. So if you are interested in other collaboration items, you could select collaboration and it's going to show you a bunch of different stickers that you could bring into your slide. So again, all you have to do is see something that you would like. Let's say something is new that you want to share, like this item here. Then maybe you nest that here next to the word, building blocks and slides, and ta-da, now all of a sudden you have a really nice, well-designed item that you can bring in and share. So really great, fun little trick there with the building blocks. You'll notice these as well when you're working in Google Docs, which is our next item. So I'm going to go over into my Google Drive, and this next update here is about the template gallery. So as you're looking here, this is what my Google Drive looks like. And typically in the past, I usually just go to new, and then I'll go to Docs and hit this little arrow. And then when I select from a template, I am taken to Google's what I'm now calling their old school template gallery. So you can see this is the template gallery that's meant only for people who share my domain. So this is the Spark template gallery. You can see things like our calendars. You can see things like some letterhead, items that are on there as well. There's just a lot of really fun things that you can build, and then this would be shared across your domain. But Google also has their own little template gallery as a part of this. You'll see here just various types of documents and letters and resumes and all kinds of other things. Well, in the last month or so, Google has put out a separate template gallery. And so to get that, you would come to your drive just like you always do, or even up in the top, you could do docs.new and that will pop up a new one. But I'm just going to click on my Google Docs. And then without typing anything, we're going to see some of these building blocks appear at the top of my document. So again, one more opportunity for you to streamline the process of your work. So I see things like, this more area. And when I select that, it gives me a whole bunch of building blocks that I can pull over on the right side of my screen. But there are some that are ready to go. And when you click on templates, notice that these items look drastically different and much more modern than these items. So both are good, both have their value. But if you're looking to add a little bit more of a design element to your work, a little bit more of a collaborative feel with some of the building blocks, then this new template gallery might be the place for you. So let's say that I wanted to do some notes for a particular meeting. You could just select class notes. It gives you a better preview of what that item is going to look like. And then when you choose insert, it places all of that content into the Google Doc for you. And so you can continue your work here. You can, add and modify and change literally everything that you see here on the screen. And then notice that it's also utilizing the somewhat new document tabs. So there's a separate page that says important information. And this again continues on, fully customizable, all the colors, all the bugs, all the everything. And then there's another one here for homework. So just a really slick use of these building blocks to allow more flexibility when it comes to our templates. So let's say that you were working in a document and this was something that you wanted to expand on. You could come down here to building blocks and you could select any one of these items to bring in. Let's say that you wanted to change your template and add something different. You could go to File and to New, and from a template, and you're going to see that same exact little pop-up appear. So a really nice way, like I said, to add some design elements to your work. As we're looking at other things, other new updates for me and tools or ideas, I wanted to mention that, again, in the last few weeks here, Google has incorporated Gemini into its core services. And this is really important for all my friends who are dealing with the Senate Bill 29 work and the Student Data Privacy Center, because here at the ESC, we have all partnered with ETLA. ETLA has been working with an organization with TEC, and they have given the legal opinion that because we know Google is not signing those data privacy agreements, but TEC has given their legal briefing saying that Google is on the up and up, that there are no data privacy concerns for the items that are in their core services. So yes, it's still at this moment 13 and up, but Gemini is now good to go for school districts, and that I think is a really big win for everybody. So if you want to learn more about that, I provided some links for you. Along with Gemini being folded into their core services, they've also done the same thing with Notebook LM, which is really great. I think we've talked about that in the past too, where basically you get to be the person behind the scenes telling the AI tool what it should know. So that's also more wonderful news. And if you want to read or follow up more on any of those, I've given you those resource links here too. With Gemini specifically, they have also added some new features, some things that you're going to see in like other products. So you get more flexibility when it comes to file upload. There's a new piece that's called Deep Research that really lets you dig into the tool. It's very slick. It brings up like a document on like 3/4 of your screen. And then on the other quarter of your screen, it is your chat with Gemini. And so you are literally working with that collaborative partner as you are creating your docs. The big thing that has come over to Gemini has been taken from Notebook LM, or is a feature that we really like with Notebook LM, and that's audio overviews. So you can create audio overviews directly in Gemini. And again, remember these as like those podcasts, right? You're having AI help you create something, talk about a topic or talk about a particular file, and then it can create these audio overviews, especially for our students who might be more audio learners or who need to hear things more than once. This allows you to basically like duplicate yourself in a classroom setting to provide some of these overviews for students. So look for even more updates to Gemini as we get deeper and deeper into the AI space, but a lot of really fun things out of Google in the last month or so. Okay, any questions about those? Any other tools or items that you would like to share with the group, or things that you would like other people to know? Okay, quiet crowd today, and that's okay. How about let's go to questions? Any questions, any ideas, things that you are thinking about using or implementing in your classroom that you want to bounce off of our friends here in the call? Boy, I tell you, quiet group here today. That's
We
okay.
do have something, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, so tangrams. Is there like anything where like I haven't looked for anything, but is there a way that you could do like tangrams virtually? Like
Yeah,
interactively,
absolutely.
like you're manipulating them and like twisting them? Because I haven't looked for anything, but I just was curious about that because those are hard to find.
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way to go about it, I honestly we have the tool in front of us here. Like I really think slides is probably your best bet
Okay.
for this. And so I'm just going to go behind the scenes here a little bit and do just a quick search for just an image. And then we'll talk about how you could pull that over. And so let me just grab this image here, save this. And that's saved. And then we'll come over into here and we'll bring this tangram image over onto our slide. All right. So The easiest way, I think, to go about it is find some sort of website, some sort of database that has a lot of the images. So I know, like, especially for our younger learners, like who you work with, Laura, they like pictures or like to make things, or like the tangram looks like a bird or it looks like a house or whatever the thing may be. So this one here is going to be very boring for them, but obviously it's going to help us to do the thing. So what I'll tell you is the easiest way to go about it is probably not what I just did, where like I added it to the slide directly. Because what we know about our kids is that like they're clickers and draggers. And if I put something on top of this and I'm trying to grab it again, the likelihood that I'm going to move this image is pretty high. So what you would want to do, and I'm not going to do this for time's sake, but you would go to, where did they put this now? You will come into here, and it is in your view and theme builder. And so this is going to take you behind the scenes of your slide deck. And then this is where I would put those items. So just for the sake, and I'll actually go through it because it doesn't take that long. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring that tangram onto my space. I'm going to make it fill the slide. And again, this is all stuff that you can custom format. So like if you know that all of your shapes are squares, then you could just reformat the width of your slide to make it a square. You would just go into your formatting.
Seriously, you can do that?
Yep. We'll do that here next. So I'll show you how we can do that. And so here's the slide that I want to use. It has that, 10-gram little image built in. I'm going to jump back out. And then when I come over to add a new slide and I go to, nope, not that one. When I go to my new slide and I go to layout, I should see that tangram one. Ta-da, here it is. And now this is what that slide looks like. So I can click on this a million times and absolutely nothing is going to happen to it because I've baked that into the slide itself.
So it's like locked in there, which is yes. Okay.
Yep. And so like think old school smart boards. We used to be able to lock things in place. Yeah. This would be the way that you can make that happen here within slides.
Okay.
And now what you would want to do is come up here to your shapes. And just because I see that like there's some triangles in here, I'm going to click and drag on this, and it's not going to be perfect because I'm working very quickly. But let's say that, this was the shape that I wanted. And let's also say that like this actually fit this space, and I might be able to make it pretty close. So let's say I put it in here and tuck that kind of down here in the corner. I would want to go through this piece as the teacher and like make them fit so that the students aren't super frustrated. I'd also probably want to match colors, again, depending on the age group of your students who you might be working with. And remember, there are really fun tools to help you with this too. So I have my little triangle selected. I'm going to choose my paint bucket for my fill color. And then I'm going to come right next to where it says add a custom color and choose the dropper. Because when I hover over this, I get the exact shade of red as what is in the image. Very cool, right? So one more fun thing that I would probably do is I'm going to take this triangle and I'm going to drag it off of my slide as soon as everything catches up here. I feel like I'm lagging. Can you still hear me okay? Is that coming through okay?
You're good. Yeah.
All right. I can say I know that my computer is lagging a little bit, and I don't know exactly why. Let me refresh this here.
I know we have a ZenWorks update that we have to restart ours. So
gotcha. So there we go. All right, we're back. Just needed a little refresh. So I would drag this off to the side. I'm a big proponent of what is called like the gray space outside of the slide. So when I would go to present, this isn't going to show, but this is all workable space. So it can go like way beyond the borders of what the actual slide may be. And let's say that theoretically, I just want to like make a default set of shapes, like the template that I found, it all uses the same size of shapes, just in different ways. You could come over here, select the item that you want, and then use Control D on your keyboard to duplicate that item. And this is like a fake out of, if you remember again, back to the old school smartboard days, this is a fake out of like the infinite clone. So essentially you are making an infinite clone of this triangle. I'm going to select them all. I'm going to right click and align horizontally. and align vertically. And ta-da, now I have, 10 different versions of that same triangle that make it appear as though it's an infinite clone. So now my students can come on here and click and drag those on without losing one, or like, oh no, I need two of these. I don't have two of these. I only have one of these. And then they freak out, and we don't want that either.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, very fun. All right. So in order to change the size of your slides, if that was a thing that you were interested in, you could come to File and then down to Page Setup. In Page Setup, it is currently set, mine is currently set for the widescreen 16:9, but you could go 4:3, you could go 16:10, but in this example, we would want to go custom, and then maybe it's something like 5:5 or 10:10, so that I get a nice little square, and then I can extend the template that we're looking at here to fit. It's really slick, but we, I think, see slides and we think rectangles and we think that we're locked into those rectangles, but there's so much more that you can really do when it comes to the layout of your slides. Really, really fun. That's a great example of like taking your slides to the next level, or thinking outside of the traditional slide deck.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you brought it up. Great question. All right, any other questions, any other things, ideas, other products that we want to share? All right, well, this is my ask every year for you to submit a proposal to our conference. This is one of my favorite times of year because we really kick it into gear for our high impact conference for educators. If you'll remember, last year, we have merged conferences with our friends at Spark, and now we offer one amazing conference that encapsulates curriculum and technology and integrates the two together. So our conference is going to be held on June 10th and 11th at the very beautiful Canton South High School. We're really excited to be there for the first time. It's going to be a great space. So we're excited to welcome everybody. That conference can only be its best if we have amazing presenters, just like all of you who are on the call. So it doesn't have to be something earth-shattering. If it's something interesting that you think other educators can benefit from, it can be something as small as like 20 minutes. If you have 20 minutes worth of content or something that you think other people can benefit from, we can make that a half-hour session, basically 20 minutes of your content, 10 minutes for questions and answers and collaboration, and we are super happy. So technically, our official call has closed, but I never turned the form off. So if you have sessions that you are thinking of, or if you have somebody that you work with that you're like, they would be really great, then please let them know that this form is still available and ask them to get that in as quickly as possible. The only big reason why I haven't closed it yet is because I know I still have a few out that I'm waiting on. And I know that I wanted to talk to all of you about it here today. So if there's something that you are interested in sharing, please, by all means, feel free to submit a proposal. All right. Time to get into our deep dive for this month, and I'm probably not going to go into everything just because there's so many jumping off points. But recently, I was at the Neotech conference at Kent State University, and I did a session that I called Fun Size Tools for Young Learners. So a lot of times when we're sharing tools, it's at like a middle school, high school level, but very rarely do we focus on our little learners and things that can work for them. And so that is ultimately where this session was born out of. And you can see some of those whys here. I wanted to link this back to the ISTE standards because if you'll remember, Ohio has adopted those ISTE standards. So I'm going to try to do this with more of my work to just basically say, this is the reason why we're doing things. Now, we also, here in Ohio, we've adopted those standards for students, but ISTE has standards for teachers, for educational leaders, for coaches, for all kinds of things, just to kind of help make sense of the whole process for everybody. So that way we are all working on, or we're at least using the same language when it comes to our work. So if you haven't checked out those standards, please make sure that you are doing so. The big statement here from the jump, remember, your students' data is incredibly valuable and we want to be protective of that. So the items that I have here to share are either within like the Googly environment or are items that are not collecting personally identifiable information. So as you see new things, as new things come across your desk, or like if you're looking on social media, or if a colleague or friend is like, "Hey, have you tried this?" Your like default setting should always be like curiosity, like, "Oh, like question this and question that, and why do they want this, and what is this going to do for me? Why should I add this to my workflow?" Okay, so always question everything. Obviously follow your district list and your district policies as it comes to new. All right, so for you, when it comes to math and science, again, yes, it's difficult to bring our little learners online sometimes, but for math and science particularly, this is yet another kind of barrier. It's often difficult to do these items into a digital space. And so I wanted to share some items with you that I think are really cool. The first one here is called Solve Me Puzzles. Solve Me Puzzles allows you to get interactive and get creative when it comes to math online. You can see that there are 3 different experiences here. We can have a mystery grid, a who am I, or a mobile. And so I'm going to call up my mobile here, and I'm going to play just a little round here. So you can see our target number here is 10. Okay, if this is in balance, then we know that the triangle and the circle have to be worth about the same amount. So into the blank, I would say the triangle is worth 5 and the circle is worth 5. And I can submit my work here up in the top corner, and ta-da, I get the stars. I know that that is in balance. When I go to my next puzzle, it can, continue this. It's telling me, okay, well, if 10 is our total, right, and the heart is worth 7, in order to make this balanced, then this diamond is probably worth 3. But the problem here is it didn't show us that number of 10. That was just my assumption. So I can see now, like, oh, this is kind of out of whack, right? So I could come in here and I can adjust it and say, like, maybe it's this. Maybe it's 7 here on the puzzle. And I know that my screen is cutting something off because there should be a little circle up at the top here too. So I can see that this here is also balanced. Okay, so we're back into a normal one. I see that each of these blocks is worth 2, 2 and 2. Our target number is 8. So that tells me that this half moon must be worth 4. And I get going. So these are really great opportunities for you to like do number talks with your students, to basically say things like, there are multiple ways in order to like solve any one problem. And so it kind of gets that rolling. Another thing that I really like, this is a website on fraction talks. It gives you a really nice how-to on how this would all work for you. But these are all based on these images. So very similar, Laura, to the tangrams that we were just talking about. You could pull up something like this one here. And as you're looking at your squares, then you can say things like, okay, for this image here, what fraction do we think this yellow box is of the whole? And allow students to talk it through and say, well, like, yes, it looks kind of like a diamond, but what if we laid it on its side? It's really just a square. I wonder how many of these squares I could fit into this larger square. Looks like it's about 6 of those that I could probably do, maybe a little bit more, but I bet this yellow is about 1/6. And like, great, you talked it through. How about somebody else? Tell me your process. How did you get to the number that you got to? Maybe you got something different. But it's setting up an opportunity for students to talk about numbers and talk about these fractions in a very creative way. So definitely check out the how-to, because I think it's a really nice layout of how that can work for you. One of the silliest places that I love to go online is Would You Rather Math. Now, it is exactly that. It is a would you rather statement. So I'm going to go to K2, and let's say we'll just look at this first one. It says, would you rather have 10 minutes of free time at 9 a.m. and 15 minutes of free time at 10 a.m.? Or would you rather have a half hour of free time in one chunk, right? So now we're talking like, okay, well, as we think of little kids, like I think of my daughter who's like, when are you going to give me the ice cream? And I need the ice cream right now. I don't care if I can get 2 scoops later. I need this 1 scoop right now, right? And so we're having those kinds of conversations as we're also talking about numbers, right? It's still in this example, like I'm getting, 10 minutes here. I'm getting 15 minutes here. I have to do the math to go, okay, well, that's 25. I could get 30 here in this example. So like, what do I value more? And again, we're just really having fun conversations with our young learners. So this is another good example. Would you rather have 8 quarters or 2 $1 bills? Just really fun ways to think about numbers in these just very silly would you rather statements. So this is someplace that if I were still in the classroom, I would have that bookmark. Think of all the times as like you're trying to get the kids back, from an activity. Think of all the times that like we're trying to just get going for the day or for this particular part of a lesson. Your ability to say like, hey, I got a would you rather, would you rather do this or would you rather do this? And now all of a sudden you're filling your time with impactful things and getting your kids talking rather than just like sitting and waiting for the bell to ring or, like I said, having the kids kind of be scattered. It's a nice way to bring everybody back.
Hey, Matt, do they add to those or is it just those that are listed?
No, so they continue to keep adding. You're talking about like the would you rathers?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So here on the website, they break it down by grade levels.
Okay.
And then it's honestly like you can add your own too. So like they give you like a little sample sheet. So you could like create your own, but there's no reason why like you couldn't do this same thing in like Google Slides. And so maybe you have like one for every day. Maybe you come over here and you like this image. So you're and you can't see it, but I just did a right click and save image. And now I put that onto a slide for my Tuesday slide deck or whatever that may be. So yeah, you can see there are quite a bit in here. Each one has like a little continue reading section, which is just going to build upon that. So it gives you even more just kind of breakdowns and ways to think about whatever that image may be. But it's just a really fun place to be, like I said, just a different way to think about math, especially when it comes to our online setting. Okay, no problem. For our science friends, the PhET simulations is really great. This is basically a place where you can come in and you can do simulations online for free without any logins or without anything. This is also filterable, and I sent you directly to the filter for elementary school students. So just giving opportunities for students to interact with things or to test hypotheses and work with some scientific principles, which I think is really fun. Also, we get Polypad, which is like a calculator of sorts, like a scientific calculator. And then another one here is from Google. This is Google Arts and Culture. This is called Rewild the World. And at the risk of having my computer go absolutely crazy, I'm going to try this one here. It's going to try to use my computer camera, so we'll see how that goes. And it is in use, so we'll see how this goes. Basically, you will learn then in this example about the gorilla, and it will hopefully pull up my picture, and I'm not going to do, I think it's probably mad at me. Oh, there I am. All right, so raise your hand if you want to meet the threatened animals. Yep, that's me. I would like to, and now all of a sudden you see my hand is transforming. And so as we play the game, I can continue to do different things. So, it's viewing me, I'm awfully close, and now I can bring my hand over here, and now I'm planting a tree, and over here, let's give some more trees and some animals. But it's a really interesting interactive space. And obviously, once we are done with the activity here, let's see if I can get it to the end, then it gives us like a little educational piece of the deforestation and what that can do for bringing back our gorillas. Okay, any more? There we go. We'll go one more here and see if we can get up there. Any others? I think I got them all. There we go. And so now we can continue this learning to take action, like learn more about it with the WWE or WWF, sorry. and then, connect with other animals. But it's just a really interesting interactive experience for students where now we're talking animals, we're talking, like I said, just opportunities for students to learn about endangered animals and what we can do to help them. So really fun experience there. All right, for my friends in the arts, if you are looking to bring some of these elements in, it's no secret to any of you on the call. I'm a huge proponent of Canva. I love Canva. I can't tell them enough how much I love them. There is a full area for educators in Canva that is dedicated to like fully baked lessons ready to go for you. These are all customizable. So let's say that I wanted to do a lesson with my students on push and pull forces. As I look in here, I can see that there are 4 components to this lesson. Okay, the first one is this little video that they made for me. So this is talking about the different principles of push and pull. I then get a really nice worksheet that has like 3 components to it. I get a full presentation with all of these animations that are in here as well that are talking to me about push and pull, and then this predicting directions worksheet. And just like everything else in Canva, if I select to use this lesson here, it's going to pop it up into my my account, and then I can go into any one of them that I want and customize it. So let's say that for whatever reason, I didn't want this green color. Maybe I wanted a color that matches my school district. I could come in here, I could choose my little paint swatch and make it whatever I wanted to match. So fully customizable. This goes for all of the content in here as well. So if you notice that like maybe it uses some language that doesn't meet your standards, like maybe it's not push and pull, maybe it's like give and go, which I know that's not the thing, but you could come in here and change the wording to say whatever it is that you want it to say and have this ready to go for your students. So that template gallery for educators, I think, is phenomenal. There are lessons for all kinds of contents in all kinds of different things. Another area that I wanted to send you to was the educator space on Learn with Google Arts and Culture. This is a huge resource. There's so many wonderful pieces and parts to this. There is a full guide here if this is new to you, and let me send this away here. A full guide on like how you can incorporate these things. This isn't just art specific. So it says pick a subject. If you wanted to, you can bring in music elements and science and history and chemistry and physics, and we can bring in some literature as well. Where I'm going to click on the Harry Potter one because I'm a Harry Potter nerd. But what you can do is now experience all of these things that would be very difficult to do in Raise a Family, Ohio. So I will never forget my student teaching experience where I was heavily chastised by these kids because I assimilated a Farmall tractor with a John Deere tractor. And I was like, oh, like I forgot, like these are just little kids. Like they haven't been on big global experiences. They don't know anything outside of their little pocket. And so using something like arts and culture allows you as the teacher to give them all of these different experiences, to take them all over the globe to see things that they might not otherwise see in their bubble. So this is just a really great example. It basically takes you to the Harry Potter exhibit, which is over in England, and it allows you to see all of these wonderful artifacts. So one of Google's big missions is to basically like document everything and just be that hub of all information. And so this is an opportunity for that. Also here in the educator space, we have fully baked, ready to go lesson plans and resources for you. And so when you select this, it allows you to filter based on whatever the content is that you may be searching for. And then there are ready to go lessons for you. So let's say that we wanted to learn about Muhammad Ali and our like introduction to portraiture and identity. Now all of a sudden we are in this lesson plan, gives you all of the instructions. First do this, then do that. Show them this picture. The students are going to do this activity. It's going to take this amount of time, but it is really, really well done resource that I think is honestly one of the most underutilized things in the whole Google palette of tools. So arts and culture is so much more than just pictures and painting. like I said, I can't say enough good things about it. So definitely make sure that you're checking that out there. All right, some features that are within arts and culture, and I'm not going to click on it just for time's sake, but Musical Canvas is a piece of that, and Mice in the Museum is an AI experience where basically you can click around in a museum and there are these tiny little mice that like talk to you and tell you what all the things are that are within it. So that I think is fun. I was in a district, I was in Indian Valley a couple months ago, and I happened upon a new friend. Her name is Mrs. Trishelle, and she had this slide for her students. So as they come into her music classroom, this is like her fine arts page. So it's a Symbaloo. So knowing that, we can click on any one of these things, and there are tons and tons of amazing places to experience music, experience the arts here within this Symbaloo, all good places that she likes to go. So very, very cool. Okay, so other fun things. We have the Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine basically is like an archive of the internet. So you can search for all kinds of things on here and then find items that that may be archived on the internet. So if I'm not mistaken, I think if I do a search for Boy Meets World, it's going to show me, this is obviously the TV show from the 90s, but there was a website that was dedicated to whether or not Corey and Topanga should get married. And I know that's on here, but I'm not going to take up your time trying to find it. So it's just a really cool little database of going back in time, of seeing all kinds of things, PDFs of images. It's just capturing all kinds of things that you may have come in contact with on the internet. Last one here I'll show you is called What the Art. And this again is from Google. So this is a game that you can play with friends or solo. And basically it is going to start drawing and start creating. And then you have to anticipate what it is that it's creating and provide that answer. So I'm going to try to find the masterpiece as a part of this game. Okay, so I have all of these options here. It's going to start painting, and then I have to find the right one. So I'm sifting through. Looks like maybe that one. Maybe the apple's on the table. Nope, not the right one. And so hopefully it'll give me some others. It's shuffling them up. And this is gamified. So let's see. I bet it's that one. Yep. So the sooner you answer, then the more points you get. But this is another great example of like, the details matter. And so having your students focus on details or things that they are seeing and how all of these can, come into play with the work that they're doing, or being like obviously looking for those details and being more observant of the things that are around them. So a lot of fun there too. Okay. That was it for my big share. There's a lot to dig into. Like I said, I wanted to focus in on our math and science and on our arts, because I think we put a lot of shine on language arts and math, which is wonderful. But I wanted to kind of blow that out a little bit to some of our lesser covered content areas. Okay. All right. Before we move on, are there any questions, things that people saw, things that you wanted to dig back into or continue to cover before we go into our upcoming area? All right, so it is going to be a long time before we see each other again formally. So I wanted to bring some of these items in. As always, the third Wednesday of every month, I help host a meeting for people all across the state of Ohio. It's called Leading for Learning. Our next meeting is next Wednesday, April 16th. And then we'll have one more for the year on May 21st. These are all virtual. This is meant for our instructional leaders, technology directors, coaches, educators, anybody who is able to join us We invite our friends from like the statewide agencies as well. And we have just high-level conversations about the things that are happening across the state that everyone else should know about. So if you would like to be a part of those, please feel free to join. If you have somebody in your district that you think would benefit, then please, by all means, feel free to share this with them as well. So I find a lot of value in that group, and I can't say enough nice things about the people that come. So I hope that you will join us. As always, as well, Eric is a wonderful resource for us here at the ESC at Spark, and he is the lead host for GEG Ohio meetings. These are live, but also recorded directly onto YouTube, and they are always at 1 p.m. So I know that that's a difficult time for some of us to watch live, but know that these are coming up April 29th and May 29th. So those dates flex usually from month to month. Usually they're toward the end of the month. And so if you are interested in those or would want to join or add those to your calendar, you could go to that link there for the GEG Ohio meetings and be able to partake in all of those. So make sure that you are checking that out. All right, so that is it for this year. Steph's putting it to bed. That is the end of our meetings. Again, we will not have a May meeting, but as we look ahead, mark your calendars because our dates for next year are already set. And I'll communicate this to our group and share it out with everybody. It follows the same monthly structure. So 4 meetings, September, November. We pause over December and January because usually that's like snow time, snow days. Usually that's, Christmas and everything's just kind of all over the place for our break. So pause it on those months, but we'll be back in February and then again in April to wrap things up. However, just because we are formally meeting during those times, that doesn't mean that you can't also utilize our Google group. So you can email your questions, email things, examples of things, share out activities that you have, but that's your opportunity to stay connected to the group in our off months. So please make sure that you're utilizing that. If you're listening to this and you go, I don't know what the heck he's even talking about, then let me know and we can get you added to that group. That way you can partake in all of those conversations too. All right. If there are no other questions, if nobody else has anything fun that they would like to share, make sure that you are grabbing these slides, make sure that you are logging your attendance. I really appreciate you all being here. Like I mentioned there at the beginning, don't let this information end with you. Share something that you saw today with a collaborator or friend and invite them to our next meeting in September of next year. Okay, we are always here to help you. So if you have questions as you are integrating items into your classroom, please reach out. You see my email there. We also have a really robust set of websites, no matter what content you may be working with. Here at the ESC, we have just a fantastic team of consultants that I'm very thankful to be a part of. So if you have questions, we are here to support you. But I will also take the opportunity to be really weird and say, have a great summer. If I don't see you, this is April 9th, and I'm already wishing you a great summer. So have a good testing season. Have a great summer. I hope that we get to see you at our conference in June. And if not, then I will see you when we start things back up next year. All right? Have a great day. Thanks for being here.